when it comes to this interaction of shyness and social anxiety, a lot of the research that I read suggested that we think of it more on a spectrum. I have come to realize that while I often reference my own social anxiety, just kind of as a general term, I don't think I could fit the qualifications for social phobia. I am very shy. I also deal with generalized anxiety, and the two meet. If I am going to hang out with someone whom I might just be at an acquaintance level, I'm not super duper comfortable with you, I will be practicing talking points in my head possibly days beforehand. I will get really nervous. I will experience a flush when I start to talk to you. The big difference when it comes to shyness and social phobia is more of how it impacts you behaviorally. Based on the studies and articles that I read about the science of shyness and social phobia, there were 5 big differences between the two that jumped out to me. First one being that people who have social phobia, social anxiety, usually report more social fears, common things like public speaking or being in classroom situations, going to parties where you have to make small talk. Secondly, while people who are just shy and people who are socially anxious might have a lot of pre-socializing symptoms, a lot of that anxiety, there might be physical symptoms, you might get an upset stomach. Avoidance is a big difference because shy people, more often than not, will still go through with whatever kind of situation they are dreading. People who have social anxiety are likelier to avoid those situations at all costs. The third big difference is reported quality of life. So people who describe themselves as shy tend to report having a better quality of life than people who are socially anxious or experience social phobia. Fourth, there is a heterogeneity of shyness. Shyness can describe so many more people in a way than social phobia. We use shyness to describe everything from mislabeling what is simply introversion, and a lot of people who are introverted aren't actually shy, to people who have debilitating social phobias. And the fifth big difference comes down to actually performing in social situations. A lot of times people who are shy might be really nervous, but when it comes down to it, our small talk might be a little bit awkward and stilted, but it usually is okay. People who are socially anxious usually don't perform as well. There are more physical symptoms that go along with that shyness. This is a real, true psychological condition and something that requires therapy sometimes, and sometimes even medication to help our brains and our mouths connect. And another big thing that jumped out to me though in reading about shyness and social anxiety is that we're still learning so much more about these two things and how they interact and what they really are and where they come from. We still have a lot to learn, not only in terms of how nature and nurture interact to produce social anxiety, but also how to overcome those kinds of things. Personally, one thing that I am trying to do more of in my life is make myself uncomfortable in the sense of putting myself in social situations that I kind of dread. It's really, really, really good practice if you are someone who is shy. I also recognize that there are socially anxious people out there to where the advice of like, buck up and just get on out of the house, that's not gonna happen. Understanding how it works and the research that's out there and what scientists know and don't know can be helpful for understanding when those symptoms trigger what is going on biologically, physiologically, psychologically, to make you feel all of those feels.